It has been a while since I've dropped some straight up anime recommendations, but here we are today with some shows that I consider to be overlooked. Some of these shows are not exactly unknown, but they still deserve to be mentioned. Please like and subscribe so we can reach that 1000 subscribers, and let's just look at some fun anime that doesn't get talked about every day. Opening up this video, I want to start with an anime that means a lot to me. Amongst the comedy anime I've watched over the years, I believe this is one of the funniest shows to ever grace this planet, and it's only 6 episodes long. Golden Boy follows Kintaro Oe, a free spirit traveling Japan and taking new jobs wherever he goes. With each new episode, Kintaro finds himself in a different place, in a different situation, with a different job and a different woman. I know I kind of dislike pervy anime at this stage of my life, but Golden Boy gets a pass purely because of how funny it is. The thing about Golden Boy is, if you don't like the first episode, there is no chance in hell that you will like the rest. But if you like to laugh, this is one of the highest recommendations anyone in the anime community can ever give you, and that is a fact. I wanted to add a different anime here, but then I suddenly remembered the beauty of a show called Skate Infinity. It is truly kind of criminal how we never got a second season, but don't be alarmed. We end on a satisfying note with this one, so don't worry about any cliffhangers. Sometimes I just like to look at this show like it's Need for Speed but with skateboards, and we follow 2 high school students, Reki, who could be described as a skateboard racing enthusiast, and the new transfer student Langa Hasegawa. After Reki introduces Langa to one of these late night skateboard races, a whole new world is opened to the new transfer student. Skate Infinity is one of those shows that is so easy to watch that you could most likely complete it in an afternoon and be mad at yourself for not pacing yourself. There isn't any news for a second season, but an OVA episode dropped this year, so that could maybe be some hope for a continuation. Finally, a romance comedy where the MC doesn't have an overly sexualized squeaky anime girl voice, and people, that is Tommo Chan is a girl. Tomo Aizawa has always been a little bit different to the other girls. She has always been tomboyish and physical, but now she has grown to have feelings for a longtime friend, and he is as oblivious to her feelings as the day is long. Now that these feelings have awakened, Tomo tries multiple different ways to get his attention, but since this isn't exactly her wheelhouse, things normally go awkwardly, they turn physical or just turn into a pure ridiculous situation, but it turns out to be highly entertaining at the end. Coming in next, we have Barakamon. This one follows the struggles of a somewhat arrogant calligrapher. After punching someone in the face who gave some critique on his work, Seishu Handa gets sent off by his father on a mission to find himself. And now Handa finds himself on a small island of the coast of Japan on a journey to hone his craft. Barakamon is one of the most wholesome anime you will ever watch, so do not ignore this one. You will most likely finish this entire anime in a single session. Will this anime ever get a second season? Well, that might be never, but even so, I will still hype up Bhutum purely because of what the first season delivered. This anime has a type of plot that could fall into the realm of an isekai, but this takes place in the real world. Bhutum is a popular online multiplayer game that Ryota Sakamoto essentially specializes in, and his favorite game will turn into his nightmare when he wakes up one day to find himself in a real-life version of the game. And now, with being trapped in this dangerous game where explosives are the weapons of choice, our MC must find a way to finish this game or die. Bhutum is one of those anime where we will never know the end without reading the manga, but for the journey it delivered, it is definitely worth checking out. I think I talked about this one a month or 2 ago, but I feel this is the perfect time to bring it up again because the second season of GoGo Loser Ranger is officially with us. As you can see, this show is clearly heavily influenced by the Power Rangers, but thankfully this is absolutely nothing like the Power Rangers. Instead of focusing on the heroes, we look at a villain who is tired of constantly losing to the Power Rangers lookalikes called the Dragon Keepers. After a final defeat by these so-called heroes, our villain, a monster named Fighter D, decides to take a stand for himself as he concocts a plan to infiltrate the ranks of the Dragon Keepers and defeat them from within. There is, however, a huge flaw in this plan because while Fighter D is almost unkillable, he's actually very weak. I know I usually tell people to not judge a book by its cover, but I did in fact initially judge this show, but at the end I tried it out and it turned into one of my anime highlights of the previous year. Now guys, I understand that Ping Pong the animation is a pretty well respected show, but for its greatness I feel it still doesn't get mentioned enough. Here we follow two childhood friends, Peko and Smile. Peko is a skilled but somewhat arrogant table tennis player, while Smile is someone who likes to keep his true ping pong skills a secret. But Peko would meet his match one day when an ex-professional ping pong player from China would beat him and he would start to distance himself from his favorite sport. And in that time, Smile would get discovered for his hidden talent and Smile would get his time in the sun. But now that Peko has suffered defeat, will he ever pick up a ping pong paddle again? From the outside, this wouldn't look like an attractive anime, but guys, please, this isn't something that you would want to judge because you are obsessed with god tier animation. In fact, in the case of this specific anime, the animation is actually perfect. There isn't a single thing that I would change about this show. The only thing I would change is my memory so I can rewatch it again for the first time to experience that feeling all over again. I will recommend this anime till the day that I die. Tonino Seekun, the master of killing time. Tonino Seekun follows Seki and his classmate Yokoi. Their dynamic is always Yoko trying to focus in class, but Seki always unintentionally distracting her with his otherworldly creations in the back of the classroom. Seki is basically in a world of his own, but his creativity easily distracts Yokoi, and then she somehow ends up in trouble instead of the mad genius in the back. This anime is so simple yet so genius at the same time. I don't know the creator of this show, but I have to give them respects for creating something so mild yet so spicy at the same time. Now back to another rom-com, we have Lovely Complex. And this one is also not the most typical rom-com you will find. It follows Risa Koizumi and Atsushi Otani. In the usual dynamic of a rom-com, the guy would be taller than the girl, but the roles are reversed in this one with Koizumi being much taller than Otani. When we first get introduced to them, we look at two bickering friends with no interest in each other and also both having their eyes on other people. They would actually go as far as to set each other up with dates. But that would soon turn into a disaster, but ultimately their friendship would grow and unlikely feelings would start to develop. I'm someone who's pretty much against love, so I'm pretty picky about romance comedies, but I will give Lovely Complex 2 thumbs and 2 big toes up because it is just an all-round fun experience. My love for Dungeon Meshi is surely no secret because anytime I can try to hype it up, I will. I believe it is the best pure fantasy anime in recent memory. The story here kicks off after a failed dungeon exploration. A group of dungeon explorers encountered a dragon, but fortunately they got teleported back to the outside, but unfortunately the caster of the teleportation got eaten in the process. And now back to where they started. Without any supplies or food, the remnants of the group gets desperate to save their friend before she gets digested by the dragon, and they set off on a quest to save her. And this desperation leads them to the genius idea of eating the monsters they find in the dungeon to survive. It definitely sounds nasty, but it is in fact very practical, and this idea would turn into a reality when they meet a dwarf in the dungeon with a wealth of monster cooking experience. The reason why I hold Delicious in Dungeon to such high regard is because almost every episode feels like it is a different adventure, and it is also genuinely funny without feeling like the comedy is forced. Another thing about this anime is that it comes across as very light-hearted, but it can easily switch it up and show its dark side, and I love that. I am excited for a lot of anime to come out with new seasons, but currently there isn't a single anime that I am more excited to see than Dungeon Meshi Season 2. Amongst the randomness of View with Eyes, I definitely believe that you will find the anime that you like and the anime that you need. Please like and subscribe.